Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. And I thought I'd do a video quickly about the Springboks fly-off options. Sorry, my dogs are just moaning here at the background. But not that you'll see it with the background that's on this video. But just thought I'd do where they are and what the box fly-off options are. I think if you look at where they were in New Zealand now, going into the test match with no recognised goal kicker, ideally any test you'd want to go, the rule is going to a test with an 80% plus goal kicker. I think that's what every team wants, but they didn't have that, so they went into the test with trying different options. I suppose this is the time you do try those options. A lot of people would probably disagree that you should try them against the All Blacks, but they did try Faf de Klerk and Cheslin Colby, and whether it was successful or not, I suppose they lost the test, so there will be a lot of discussion about that. But saying that, I mean, the Springboks are pretty thin on their fly-off options at the moment, and I think that's one of the problems they have. And going into the World Cup, it is a concern. I think one of the things we should realise is that if we look back where we were in 2021 with the British and Irish Lions, there was actually quite a wealth of options for the Springboks back then. They had Andre Pollard, Elton Yankees was the two fly-offs in the team. They had Frans Steyn, who was sort of the backup, and Damian Willemse was coming through. Manie Libbok hadn't started yet his run for the Stormers. But they also had Morné Steyn, who stepped up to kick the winning goal against the Lions, and Johan Goosen returned to South Africa with such a brilliant game against the South African A team for the Bulls, that he was really seen as a guy who is up and could make his way back into the team again. Since then, what we've had, I mean, we've had some of the outsiders. You had youngsters like Sasha Feinberg Mngomezulu, excuse my pronunciation there, who started to come through. He's had some injury problems. There's Kerwin Bosch, who was seen as an option at times, and then whenever he seems to be an option for the box, he sort of loses out. Jordan Hendrickse, who's had some injury problems, there's not really I know some people might bring Chris Smith into that equation, but to be very honest, I don't think he's really in the picture at all in terms of the Springbok selection. He hasn't been invited to any alignment camps, so that sort of also says that. Plus, a number of these other guys I mentioned are probably in the same boat as well. Saying that, the Boks have decided to stick to their guns in terms of the fly-off options. Andre Pollard is very much number one. Then Manie Libbok and Damian Willemse are with him, and Frans Steyn is now retired, so he's out of the equation. Morné Steyn is retired as well. So and Johan Goosen's form hasn't been that great in the URC this year, so there hasn't been that many options for them. That's why they brought back Elton Yankees as a guy who's played 50 tests and knows their systems and been around the team for a long time. Although they're quite adamant that Elton is really seen as an option if everything else fails. So with that in mind, let's have a look where the Boks are right now. I think it's quite clear Andre Pollard is their number one option. He's fighting to be fit. Jacques Nienaber was quite adamant that Andre is the type of guy that could slot in anyway. And this is what he said in the press conference this week.
So Andre and Sia, I got told that somewhere I said that they will play against Wales. But the thing is, the main thing is they will not. We didn't think they will make rugby championship. But after that, in the warm-up games, hopefully, and even if and like I mentioned now with rehab, you start a process or a rehab program, and then let's say there's swelling or there is a loss of range of movement or whatever reason, you probably go a step back. So if everything goes well, hopefully they'll make the warm-up games, Wales and again I reiterate, hopefully. But it's something you can't predict, can't manage. The one thing I can definitely tell you, we will not push them. We will not force them to play, or if they're not medically right and clear and confident. Obviously, confidence is something that they will try and get out of training sessions, and then they will probably have to build their confidence in games. But hopefully, we can get them. But I mean, it will be what it will be.
Now, Jacques Nienaber obviously believes that Andre can come in like he did against the British and Irish Lions, where he had a knee injury and slot in straight away, and they believe a lot in him. So I think that's one thing. Like Sia Kolisi, he will be in that side no matter what. And they're hoping, obviously, everything. They're banking a lot on him. And why they're doing this is because they don't have a goal kicker that kicks at the same level. Damien Willems is the type of guy who really, he's a great player, a superbly versatile player, and an unbelievable player to put on. If you're going to have on the bench, he can cover so many positions. And he slotted in pretty well in the fly-off position last year as well. So that's why they probably believe in him a lot more. But Damien as well has got this tendency sometimes to drop his head, when things don't go right, when he misses his first kick. So I suppose that would be a big worry for them as well. You look at Manie Lebok. Manie is a great fly-off. He's obviously still developing in the role. He's the type of guy that had a great season in for the Stormers, but had a pretty average final, by his own standards. And I think he knows that he was good against Australia, but he was behind the pack, was going forward. And while the Boks are going forward, he'll be a great guy to go. I'm not sure he has the tactical kicking nuance, to challenge some of to turn teams around that much. That's something he still has to show. He's got a lot of other skills as well. And he's the type of guy that can really turn the game as well, but he's a confidence player as well, and he's not the traditional South African type of fly-off. So then you have them, and you have Elton Yankees waiting in the wings. Now, Elton probably won't go to the World Cup. He's there as a backup, and he's the guy who's going to slot in. If you think that Stephen Donald kicked the winning penalty for the All Blacks in 2011, you can understand why it's good to have these other options as well, a guy who can slot in. I know Elton might not be everybody's favourite, but he is the guy who has got a wealth of experience and can, short term, adapt to the Boks game plan as well. Other than that, guys, we're very, very thin on fly-offs at the moment, so I think we should realise that. I think it's one thing to hope there's somebody else, but there isn't at the moment, and this is the options the Boks have played, the cards they've got to play in this World Cup. So that's what they're going to try and do. I suggest probably, Frans Steyn was a big blow to them, bigger than you'd expect, because he's the type of guy who really wanted to go to another World Cup. The type of guy who was just as versatile, and that cannon boot of his would have helped them a lot. That saying that, Manie Lebok came through, and they didn't think he would in the last year. A lot of people didn't doubt in Manie, but he's really proved a lot of his doubters wrong. So, he deserves the chance, and that's, the game plan must work around the players that they have at the moment. So, I think the worry is that if you have a game where the goal kicking goes bad, and we're talking about games of inches here, and they're going to have a bunch of those type of games at the World Cup, I think the worry is there then that you're going to have to turn to somebody like Faf or Cheslin to kick, and both of them, while being decent players, that's not their main game, and they need to. I don't know. It can work, but it can also backfire on you quite horribly. So I think that's the biggest worry. If Handre's out, we've got some problems. We're going to have to sort of patch up, and I'm not sure you win a World Cup by patching up a team. We're very much a confidence-based team, and we play off the fly-off quite a lot. We play a lot of the nines as well. So I think there's a bit of a concern there if Handre doesn't make it, and I think the Boks are desperately hoping. That's why they're giving him enough time. That's why they sort of giving him the option. But one thing against the All Blacks though, which I didn't understand, was Damien Willems has limited involvement in the game. I mean, you had Faf and Cheslin were kicking. You had Damien, who I think he had one kick the entire game. You had Damien Delenda and the Kanyo Amu, who did some of the kicking out of the back there when the Boks were trying to get exits out of their own half. And you had Willie LaRue doing the line kicking. So, Willie came in as playmaker several times in that game as well. So you sort of wondered what was Damien's role. It may just be that's the way it worked out, and maybe they were trying out a couple of things that we don't know about. But I think there is some concern there about just the way the Boks are going through. I don't think it's massive concern. I think this coaching team has showed enough that we can trust them. I think we know they know how to win a World Cup, and they would have taken all this into account as well. So at the end of the day, the Boks have got Handre as their main. That's going to be the main thrust of their whole World Cup campaign, with Damien Willems on the bench probably, and Manie Lebok playing a cameo role. I think that's what we're going to see at the World Cup, and that's what we should expect. And I reckon that yeah, that's what we're going to get. So guys, I mean, unfortunately, that's the state of things, and I think we should all hope that Andre is fit. I think we should hope that there's no other surprises coming and no other injuries, because we might have a couple of hairy moments there going into the World Cup. But saying that, if you think anybody else has missed out that I haven't mentioned, or you think anybody else should be in, let me know. Otherwise, if you're new to this channel, I do these videos quite a bit, so come and watch a bit more, keep an eye out, subscribe if you can. And yeah, if you're into a bit more rugby discussion, Liam.com, the Sunday Times rugby writer, and myself, we do a rugby podcast called To The Last Drop. It comes out every Thursday at 9 a.m. on all the major platforms: Spotify, Amazon, Apple iTunes, Google Podcasts, and Iona.fm. And you'll find also the link on my socials somewhere. So yeah, if you enjoyed this, let me know. Otherwise, yeah, and you come back again and watch some more of these. There'll be more of these up soon. Cheers.